Hi, I'm Sam from Wessex Archaeology. We're here at the Centre for Experimental Military Archaeology to make a film for Living Land 2021.
My name's Andrew Robertshaw and I'm one of the directors of the Centre for Experimental Military Archaeology. Right now we're in a piece of woodland on the edge of the Kent Showground at Detling. We're building trenches here as a way of providing a learning experience for groups, particularly at the moment with COVID because they can't get to the Western Fronts, and also they're going to be used for filming. At the moment we're building a piece of front line where I'm sat now on this piece of fire step. It's about 100 metres long. It will eventually be considerably larger, having many more bits of a typical trench, latrines, dugouts, all of that. Even a section of light railway eventually will go in. The techniques we're using here are exactly the same as they would use in railway wood near Ypres. These are A-frames that get the trench boards, duck boards, out of the mud and actually support the size of the trench. And the sandbagging, I was taught by a old Royal Engineer back in the 1980s how to do it properly. So we're using manuals to lay it out, and we're basing it on what was built in railway wood during the Great War. The key point about the trenches here is that there were trenches here in the First World War, and there were then more trenches built during the Second World War because this was a very important airfield. Blitzed in 1940, very heavy loss of life, and we're really in some ways recreating what would have been here in World War I and World War II.
Andy, I've brought with us today some artefacts from a First World War training trench in Wiltshire, and we've got some slightly better preserved modern equivalents. Yeah. Can we talk first about this? What are we looking at here?
That is a mess tin that's been in the ground quite a long time. It's actually a pre-war one, I can tell you now, but that's what a soldier carries his food in it, and he also cooks in it, boils his water for his tea or his coffee, and that one's seen better days. That's what it should be.
And this is what it should look like?
Absolutely. But if a soldier lost that, he would have to replace it. He'd go to the quartermaster, lost my mess tin, right, you're going to pay for that one, the one you lost,
and your new one.
Oh, no. So it's a double whammy if you lose it. And obviously he couldn't cook, so he would be pretty annoyed.
And so who was doing the cooking in the trenches?
Soldiers normally at home at least are cooking for themselves. If they're down in the camp close by, it's been done for them, they've got cooks. But if you're in the trenches, to learn how to look after yourself in the front line, you cook for yourself.
And eating off plates like this?
Well, this is sort of a canteen thing rather than a trench. So frankly, someone's been a bit naughty. I suspect it could be the same guy that lost the mess tin because he's actually stolen it from the canteen. This is not issued to a soldier. This is very much something that would be in the YMCA canteen or something like that.
And this chutney, why is there chutney in a trench?
Because the food, there's lots of it. It's normally bread, biscuit, vegetables, lots of meat. But this is, of course, a bit more tasty. The food is monotonous. It's the same every day. Therefore, anything, whether it's sauce like the HB sauce there, A1 sauce, it's mustard, it's pickle, anything just to make it taste a bit better.
To bring some flavour and a bit of life to it.
Absolutely, yes.
And why have we got these golden syrup tins? What are these here for?
It's very, very popular stuff. I mean, it's nice anyway if you put that on your porridge, but the main thing is that the lid just flips off. If you open a tin of normal jam, you've got to open it up with a jackknife or with a tin opener. It's then open. Within minutes, you've got ants in it, you've got flies in it. Horrible. Whereas this, you can close the lid down, and there's lots of energy. It's it's virtually liquid sugar, isn't it? And then actually, this one here has been converted to make it into a little cooker, so you can actually heat your food up over it by actually using melted candle wax on sandbag.
And to provide a bit of heat for your hands. And
absolutely, or just get a brew going.
And what were they brewing in their mugs?
Tea very often, that was the standard. Coffee also was available, and it comes in a 1 pint. So that you've got a 1 pint there, that's my modern 1 pint. It's quite a lot of tea.
A whole pint of tea?
Absolutely, and it's going to have sugar in it, and it's also going to have condensed milk. So for our taste, or my taste at least, very, very sweet.
And was it tea as we know it today?
Yes, very much it is. But normally, of course, what you have to do is that it's not in tea bags, it's loose tea. And I was taught by an old soldier from the First World War, what he did, he used to break a match off and drop it into his tea. It attracts the tea leaves, and then he'd flick the tea leaves out with a spoon. There's a little trick for you if you ever have tea with leaves in it.
And the corned beef we're looking at there, the corned beef tins.
Yep.
What is corned beef?
It's preserved meat. I mean, and that's exactly how it opens, isn't it? You simply have a little key on the side, you wind around, tip it out, and then you eat it. And that could either be eaten in a sandwich or it goes into a stew. And you've got what's left over after you've opened one of those tins up.
And again, high energy.
Yeah, but the problem with it is, with this kind of thing, lots and lots of protein. One of the problems the soldiers got, particularly early in the war, were boils, because they had so much meat in their diet. So they actually reduced the meat, not because of rationing.
And the whiskey bottle we've got at the end.
Yeah.
Is that a normal thing to find in a trench?
We find them in trenches, certainly, even at the front, but very much something that an officer would have. If you were found in the trenches to have brought alcohol in, unless you were given express permission to have it, you'd be in serious trouble, because a sentry that drinks too much of this probably is going to fall asleep or be drunk.
He's not keeping a lookout.
He's not keeping a lookout, and that's dangerous.
And were soldiers given an alcohol ration at all?
In cold and wet weather, you get a small quantity of rum, high-proof rum, first thing in the morning after you finish your nighttime routine.
Thank you.
Thank you.